The School of Athens is one of a series of 4 paintings painted onto the walls of the Apostolic Palace situated in the Vatican City. In 1508, Raphael moved to Rome, where Pope Julius II, who was simultaneously employing Michaelangelo to paint the Sistine Chapel ceiling, hired him to paint wall scenes including the School of Athens. It was painted by Raphael between 1509 and 1511. The School of Athens depicts all the greatest mathematicians, philosophers, and scientists gathered together, sharing their ideas and learning from each other. These figures all lived at different times, but in this painting, they are all gathered under one roof. The 2 men in the very centre are Aristotle and Plato. Plato points up because his philosophy is that the world around us is just a shadow of a higher divine one. Aristotle points his hand down because in his philosophy, the only reality is the reality that we can see and feel by sight and touch. Around the room there are many influential scientists, mathematicians, and philosophers. The painting is clearly divided into sections, the left side being the men who base their thoughts off of the divine, and the right, men who base their thoughts off of the material world. Plato and Aristotle are the 2 most influential figures in Western philosophy. Aristotle was a student of Plato, and when Plato passed away, Aristotle moved away from the Platonic philosophy to the empiricist philosophy. Empiricism is the belief that knowledge can only come from sensory experience. Plato believed the exact opposite. Aristotle was a scientist. Not only that, but he laid down the basics for our current scientific method. Platonic philosophy was the basis of Christian theology and philosophy up until the Renaissance, where Aristotelian philosophy became dominant. Plato believed that our senses were flawed and that anything in the material world could not be perfect. There are many men around the room, too many to name and describe. Here is some information about a few of the more well-known. In the bottom left is Pythagoras, a Greek mathematician. To the right of him is a man called Euclid. He is a figure bending down, drawing on a slate as he teaches a group of students. Euclid was essentially a scientist, and he tried to understand how the universe worked by studying what happened around him. Above Euclid is a man named Ptolemy, the figure who has his back turned to us. He holds a globe in his hand and is conversing with Zoroaster, an astronomer. Ptolemy tried to explain the movements of the planets with mathematics, and he came up with the idea of the geocentric solar system. Raphael, the painter, included a self-portrait. He can be seen staring at us from the right corner, standing by Ptolemy. The architecture shown in the painting is that of the Basilica of St. Peter's, that was at the time being redesigned by an architect named Bramante. The architecture used is evidently Roman, and the 2 statues visible are those of 2 Roman gods. On the left is Apollo. He is the Roman god of music, poetry, art, and knowledge. On the right is Athena. She is the Roman god of wisdom. The building is in the shape of a Greek cross, which some suggest was intended to show a harmony between pagan philosophy and Christian theology. Overall, the School of Athens is one of the most well-known and famous paintings of the Renaissance. It is something that will still be renowned well into the distant future. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.